it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, we're going to learn how to crochet the Sparkling Waters Wrap. This is a really beautiful shawl that you can make with some simple stitches, but when they come together, they make this really lovely fan pattern. This is a shawl that I just absolutely love. It's so fun to make, and even though you do use some basic stitches, it's still an engaging project. And I also wanted to say as a side note, this first appeared on the I Like Crochet magazine. And it is a pattern designed by myself and is now going to have a permanent home as well on the Flux blog. So I'm really excited to bring this pattern to Flux as well on both the channel and the blog. So let's get started with our supplies first. For this project, you're going to need a 6mm J crochet hook. Now this is my Furls Odyssey hook in blue, just as a side note, because I always get a lot of questions about my hooks. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and if you have one, a ruler or tape measure is helpful to get the length of the shawl that you're after. And then let's talk about the yarn. So the original shawl here that I have finished, this was done in Wool of the Andes by Knit Picks. This is a 100% wool yarn, and I used 4 balls of this, and each one of those is 110 yards. So if you use about 440 yards total, 110 times 4, of a medium weight yarn, you'll be just fine. And I'm going to be using for the tutorial some Red Heart Super Saver in blue, and I do this on purpose because I really like to see how a pattern works up in different yarns and in different colors, so that we're still sticking with the sparkling water theme, but I like to see it in different yarns because that's what all of you will be doing as well. So I like to experiment a little bit to show you that as well. So with our yarn here, I have a center pull ball of yarn, so that makes it super helpful. But we're going to begin with our starting chain. Now, I wanted to also point out that the multiple of this stitch, so let me just grab it so I can show you. The multiple of this stitch is 10 plus 2. So what that means, if you're not familiar with that, is that when you want to change the width of your shawl, now if you want to do the length, you just simply add or subtract rows, work more or less rows, but if you want to change the width of your shawl, you're going to do a multiple of 10 plus 2. So what that simply means is when you're doing your starting chain, you're going to do 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 to get the width that you want, and then add 2 more chains onto the end of that. The finished piece measures about 16 inches wide and about 60 inches long. However, using that multiple, you can change the width, and then working your rows, you can change the length of that. This one is not a super long shawl, so you might want to make yours longer, but I figured that with the medium weight yarn, it didn't have to be super, super long. So let's get started. Okay, so to begin, the very first thing we want to do is put a slip knot on our hook. I'm going to keep this shawl over here to keep it handy if we need to refer back to it as needed. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is get that slip knot on there. So wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Okay? Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just zoom in a little tiny bit so you can see my hand a little bit better. So our starting chain is 52. Again, that's a multiple of 10 plus 2 if you need to change that. So to make a chain, wrap yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 50, 51, and 52. Now here is our starting chain. Now I know I get this question a lot. If you're having trouble with the tightness of your starting chain, you don't want it to be too tight because it'll pull in the bottom of your shawl. So if you're having trouble getting it loose enough, now you don't want it to be too loose because it'll look kind of sloppy, but if it's really tight, try going up a hook size. Now the next hook size of this would be a K hook for the starting chain only, and then for the remainder of your shawl when you're working on it, go back down to the J hook, and that helps quite a bit until I know when we start to crochet, when we're learning or haven't done it in a while, or maybe doing something else and we're a little distracted, sometimes our hands aren't as relaxed as they could be, so they can create some tightness in our tension. I know when I started crocheting, my tension was much tighter than it is now. Okay, so let's start row 1. What we're going to do is single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So this loop here on the hook does not count. We're going to go 1 and 2 and work a single crochet. So insert the hook into that chain, bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, okay? Next, we're going to skip 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to work 9 treble crochets into the next chain, okay? So to make a treble crochet, we're going to wrap yarn around hook 2 times. 1, 2, insert the hook into that chain, bring up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook this time. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the next 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. That's a treble crochet. So you can see we just did the single crochet. See the height difference? It's a little teeny tiny stitch and a nice tall column, okay? So that's going to be the beginning of some of these fans over here, okay? All right, so we're going to do 9 of these into this one chain, okay? So that was 1. Then we're going to do 2. Then we're going to do 3. Then 4. Let me get a little bit more yarn here out of my yarn ball. Then 5. Then 6. 7. 8. And 9. Okay, so here's our very first fan. Just right off the bat, we're just putting a fan in right away. Okay, so there is our first fan, and it looks very pretty. Now, I will say the colors, the difference of colors is really interesting to see as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to skip 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the next chain, work a single crochet, just like that. And then we're going to skip 4 more chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the chain after that, we're going to work 9 treble crochets into that next chain. Okay? So once again, 1 treble crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so now we have 2 beautiful fans, and we're going to keep going, okay? So skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the chain after that, work your single crochet. Then skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the chain after that, work your treble crochets, 9 treble crochets once again. So, as you may have noticed, we're starting to develop a little bit of a pattern sequence here, okay? So that was 2 treble crochets, then 3, then 4, get some more, and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Just like that, okay? Skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the chain after that, work a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. Sometimes we have to recount, totally fine. All right, skip 4 chains again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the chain after that, work your treble crochets again. We have 5, if we look at our other shawl here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fans across, okay? We're working on number 4 right now. Okay, so we're almost there. So 1 treble crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Just like that, okay? Next, we're going to skip 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. Work a single crochet in that one after that. 1, 2, 3, 4 we're skipping over, and we're going to work our last fan, okay? So that's 1 treble crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so let's look at our fans for just a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you might have to, they might look a little curly at first, but you can kind of go over and straighten them out a little bit, okay? So we have 5 fans. Now let's finish off the row here. Okay, now to finish off the row, you're going to have just a couple chains left at the end. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that last chain, work a single crochet. Okay, just like that, and that'll help that fan lay down. Okay, so we have 5 fans across, just like that, and then what we're going to do is move on to row 2. Okay, so for row 2, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then turn your work. And remember that single crochet we made at the end of that last row? We're going to work a treble crochet into that first single crochet right here. So work a treble crochet. 1, 2 wraps around the hook. Remember, bring up a loop. You'll have 4 loops. Yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Yarn around hook, bring through the next 2 loops. Yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops. I meant to say this earlier, but I have a completely separate video on the treble crochet stitch, so that if you need to see it, you know, very slowly and in more detail and make up like a practice swatch, definitely check out that video. You can just do a search on YouTube for Flux treble crochet and it'll come up. Okay, so we worked a single crochet in that first, a treble crochet in that first single crochet, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to work a single crochet in the center treble crochet of this fan. So what you might want to do is these down here, see where my thumbs are chains. Those aren't part of the fan. But we remember we did our 9 treble crochets. So grab 1 on either side, 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 and there it is. There's the center treble crochet. That's how I like to do it. You can also count, you know, up. So insert the hook, bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, okay? So we're starting to build a little bit on top of here, as you can see in our other piece, okay? So then what we're going to do is chain 3 once again. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to work 2 treble crochets this time in the single crochet. So in between each one of these fans is a single crochet that we made in the row before. So you can see in between these fans is your stitch. See that little loop in the very center? So you're going to work 2 treble crochets into that single crochet. Okay? So when you're working these first couple rows with any pattern really, you want to go nice and slow. And then as you begin to familiarize yourself with the stitches and the sequencing, then you can kind of pick up speed. But I like to go nice and slow for the first couple of rows. Okay, so it's starting to look like our other one back here. Okay, see these 2 treble crochets in the middle there? That's what we're doing right now. Okay, so then we're just going to repeat the same thing all the way across. Okay, so go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to hop to the middle of our fan. Remember, we get those chains out of the way. And then we grab 1 on either side, 1 on either side, 1 on either side, 1 on either side, and that will reveal the center one, okay? Because 9 is an odd number, so there'll be 1 extra in the middle there. Okay, we're just going to work a single crochet into that centermost treble crochet, then chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Hop to that single crochet in the center and work your 2 treble crochets. Same thing we just did before. Okay, just like that. Work your second one. Okay, now chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and now we're ready to find that centermost treble crochet. So I like to this is like the quick and easy way to do it, and it's foolproof. Find that center stitch, that center treble crochet from the previous row, work your single crochet into that, then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Go find that center single crochet between your 2 fans, right there. Work 2 treble crochets into that single crochet. So 1 treble crochet, 2 treble crochets, okay, then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Second to last fan here, find that center. Remember, we grab 1 on either side, 1 on either side, 1 on either side, and it's right there in the middle. Okay, so work your single crochet right there, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then locate that centermost single crochet, and you're going to work your 2 treble crochets right into that single crochet, right in between those 2 fans, just like that. Okay, then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then our last fan, once again, find that centermost treble crochet. Okay, right there, work your whoops. I had wrapped my hook around. I wasn't supposed to do that. Let's do that one more time. Find that centermost treble crochet. I just like to kind of feel for it. Work your single crochet right in the middle there. Okay? All right, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then to finish off the row, we're going to work 2 treble crochets. Now see at the very side here, we have our single crochet from the previous row. So work 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2 to finish off the row. Just like that, okay? So you can see, you might need to kind of straighten things out once again. Now I will say for this finished piece, this was with animal fibers. This was 100% wool. So I was able to block it. If you use acrylic yarn like this one, you might not be able to block it as well, but you can kind of straighten things out a little bit. Okay, let's do our third and final row here. What we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, we're going to do another row of fans, but they're going to look the same once you get the row on there, but they're going to be worked into a little bit different places than our chains when we first began this piece, okay? So row 3, let's chain 1 and turn, and then what we're going to do is work a single crochet in the space in between these 2 treble crochets. Remember those last 2 treble crochets at the end of the row right here? That's going to have a space in the middle. So what we're going to do is work a single crochet right into that space, just like that, okay? All right, then what we're going to do is skip our 3 chains. Remember those chains across that we did? And you have a single crochet. Remember we did a single crochet in the center of that fan? Into that single crochet, we're going to work our next fan. So our fans will be stacked and create rows. So you're going to work 9 treble crochets into that single crochet that's in the center of the fan from the previous row. Okay, so let's do that together. 1 treble crochet, 2, 3, 4, whoops, I didn't go through that last loop, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's our fan. And you can see they just stack really beautifully on top of one another. And so next we're going to skip these 3 chains. Remember these 3 chains that we did right here? And then we're going to work a single crochet in between the space between the treble crochets once again, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to skip 3 chains, and then we're going to work our next fan into that single crochet on the top of the fan from the previous rows. Okay, so let's work our 9 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, I want to redo that one. I think I grabbed an extra loop in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this would be 5, 6, 7, this fan's getting a little squirrely here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this would be 7. Okay, back on track here. 7, 8, 9, and our fan is complete. Hop over to those 2 treble crochets, work your single crochet right in the middle of those. Hop over to the next fan, and then that single crochet at the top center, work your 9 treble crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, starting to look really nice over here. And then we're going to find those 2 trebles from the previous row, work a single crochet right into the inside, the in-between space of those. Hop over to the next fan. We got 2 fans to go. Hop over to your next fan and locate that single crochet at the top, and we're going to work our 9 treble crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Let me just double check these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this will be number 9. Whenever I'm crocheting, I'm not sure about you, but I go back and I count and I recount and I double check, and I find that that really helps. Okay, so those 2 treble crochets, once again, we're going to work a single crochet right in between those. And then let's work that last fan. So skip those 3 chains, remember, and then that single crochet at the top of that fan, work your 9 treble crochets once again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay? So our final fan is complete. Okay? So then what we want to do to finish off the row is, remember we had those 2 treble crochets. You're just going to work a single crochet right into that space, okay, just to finish off that row. So to finish off your piece, you're just going to be repeating rows 2 and 3 over and over and over again until your piece is about 60 inches long. Now again, you can work more or less rows. If you want to make this into a scarf, you can make it longer. But just keep repeating rows 2 and 3 over and over again until your piece is as long as you'd like it to be. Now, as you can see, I used a little bit bigger of a yarn for this. It's still the medium, but you can play around with the yarn a little bit too, and the hook if you'd like. Just know that it may change the sizing just a little bit, okay? So let's pretend that we've worked our rows, and then when you're finished, you'll want to end on row 3, because see how you get that nice pretty scallop? You'll get just these like loopy chains at the top if you end on row 2. So just make sure you end on row 3. So when you're finished, you're just going to cut your yarn and fasten off, wrap the yarn around the hook and pull it all the way through. And then grab your tapestry needle. I like to go in the back. So this, I consider in this pattern the right side being the fronts of these scallops. So the ones that when you made your treble crochets, when they faced you, that's what I consider to be the front. When you flip it over, it kind of looks like the back, you know. But when you wear things, they kind of move all around, and it's okay, you know. Okay, so let's thread our tapestry needle, and we're just going to go into those back loops here of our piece. Now again, if you used animal fibers, you can block this a little bit heavier. You can do a wet block technique. With acrylic yarn, you can lightly steam it. Just never ever touch an iron to acrylic yarn. It'll melt it. Okay, so I went in one direction and I came back in the other direction. And then however many ends that you have, just weave all of your ends in. Now there's 2 schools of thought if you choose to block your piece. Some people like to block first and then weave the ends in, while others like to weave the ends in and then block. So just do what your personal preference is. If you're not sure, you might want to just weave one end in to see how you like it, but some people feel that if they weave the ends in first, when they go to block, it can shift those ends around and pull some of them out. Some people don't have trouble with that, so you have to see what works best for you. Okay, so this is our pretend finish shawl, but it looks very pretty, and I love seeing it in different colors, and those fans are very dramatic. I just love them. It's like an arcade sort of. Okay, so that is how. Now let's grab our finished piece before we depart here. But you can see the yarn is a little bit different size, but it's roughly similar dimensions, but that's okay. It's okay for a shawl. But that is how you crochet the Sparkling Waters wrap. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.